Hey guys, welcome to the Political Vigilante, back in the crazy studio with the Dark Knight photo. And I want to talk about an article that was in The Intercept. There was just an election, a parliamentary election in the Netherlands, and it's critical because there was a guy, Geert Wilders, who was backed by David Horowitz, who's a Breitbart contributor, and Steve King, that right-wing fuckstick from Iowa. So this article was written by Robert Mackey. It came out March 15th in The Intercept. I'll put the link below so you can read the full article. But it's interesting, and for a lot of levels, because there's been some articles written about how like nationalism, a lot of like even white nationalism is not just here in America, but it's kind of going all across the country, and it's prevalent in Europe. That was part of what motivated the Brexit thing. So the fact that the Breitbart guy would back this dude and a Republican guy from Iowa would get behind this guy is important, because his campaign was very anti-Muslim rhetoric. He literally ran on a "Make the Netherlands Great Again" campaign, and the Syrian refugees are all terrorists and they're going to come blow up the Netherlands, and every Dutch person needs to be afraid. So what is important is he is getting crushed. It's like 83% of the people are voting against him. And that's important, because it's important to show that this xenophobic nationalist stuff, first of all, it's another thing that we're so unique for here in America, but it isn't gaining traction, because I think what is happening when the President of the United States starts taking on a very serious anti-Muslim tone, then we see how it impacts the whole world. Because if the Netherlands were to do a travel ban, that would have some importance and some significance in Europe, but the country isn't as big, and there aren't people wanting to come there from all over the world. So, yes, people want to go to Western Europe to escape whatever, but America attracts, it's the land of opportunity. It's been doing this for several hundred years now. So this is important. So that we'll go into a little. I'll just go into it right now. So here's the thing. I'll go into the history or go into detail what the Dutch system is, because I'm just learning about it. Maybe you know about it, maybe you don't. So here in the article, although the Dutch system of proportional representation combined with a splintering of support among more than a dozen parties made it unthinkable for Wilders and his Party for Freedom, or PVV, to win an outright majority, opinion polls throughout 2016 had suggested that he was on course to lead the largest party in the next parliament. Had that come about, Wilders could have insisted on the right to try to form a coalition government, even if his noxious platform of banning Muslim immigration, closing mosques, and withdrawing from the European Union repulsed most other parties. That was his platform. He wanted to close mosques and get out of the European Union, just like England did. And here's what they're doing there too. They're counting votes by hand, because they're trying to assuage fears of Russian hacking, because obviously Russia would like to have some influence on Western Europe. So they're hand counting, but the exit polls and partial returns suggest an overwhelming rejection of Geert Wilders, whose anti-Muslim campaign rhetoric thrilled American racists but appealed to a narrow minority of Dutch voters in Wednesday's parliamentary election. So, and in the link below, you'll see, because there's a bunch of parties that get serious votes. It's not just like America that has two parties and then maybe one or two other little like libertarian and green party. Like there's a bunch of parties that get a bunch of different style votes, which I would love to see America have. I remember seeing a debate in Canada, and there was like 4 or 5 people on a nationally televised debate from all the different parties up there. Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be great if we had that? But the good news is Wilders and his party, the PVV, looked unlikely to win much more than the 13% of the vote projected in the exit polls, giving them at most 20 of the 150 seats in Parliament. And the incumbent Prime Minister, Mark Rutte, declared victory on behalf of his People's Party for Freedom and Democracy, or VVD. VVD. I did that wrong. And again, the other thing, too, is like many countries, the elections are they run over several days. It's not just a Tuesday. Like, why is America only having elections on a work day? It should be over several days. It should be like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and a Monday. Like, they should be over 3 or 4 days. And it definitely should be on the weekends. It shouldn't be on a work day. And they should be able to vote by mail. But the American system is designed to keep people from voting. So it's interesting. It's interesting to see. It's interesting to follow, because it also lets the Trumps and so Trump's victory gave like Breitbart and people like David Horowitz that are contributors to Breitbart and that white nationalist, it gave them, they started to have this like, oh, see, it's happening and it's sweeping the world. We're taking over America and everyone wants to go white nationalist, and it's showing now, and people are realizing that if you don't have serious opposition, then that's how a demagogue gets elected. So it's important to pay attention to, guys. Read up on this, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on, if you are watching this from any other country or information on other countries of how they run their elections, and any sort of similar elections that are happening where you live, where there's some side of right-wing, alt-right, nationalist, and how the country is dealing with that person and what percentage of people are voting for or against this, because it's interesting to see, because all of this affects the entire world. We can't pretend like it doesn't, because it does. So like and subscribe. The Patreon's below. My tour dates to Hawaii. I'm going on a 4-show 2-island tour, March 22nd through the 25th. Check that out. And of course, follow me on Twitter @GrahamElwood.